Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest of boxing if you want to become part of the notification gang. Hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, the channel donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen the post last night. It was during the Chocolatito telecast that HBO announced an upcoming fight. Later that night, I got an email from Main Events. Shout out to Main Events. And they have their next fight for Sergey Krusher Kovalev. And it says, Krusher begins road to redemption. Sergey Kovalev to face Vyacheslav Shabranskyy Saturday, November 25th at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Televised live on Boxing After Dark. So it's going to be at Madison Square Garden, not the big room, but the theater. Terrence Crawford has fought there, and they hold other fights. Like if Lomachenko fights Rigondeaux, if that actually happens, they'll probably put that in the theater also instead of the big room, because the big room you have to be big business. You know what I'm saying? Like if Canelo were to fight there, Triple G, when he fights at Madison Square Garden, he gets the big room. And Crawford's last fight, I think, was at the big room. The last time he fought there. So the Felix Diaz fight. So I want to talk about the fight briefly. Sergey Krusher Kovalev, he's 34. He's coming off the Andre Ward loss. And new media, man. New media is here. Again, the date's November 25th, Madison Square Garden. New media has been telling you since January this was not going to be a good year for a lot of you casuals, you non-believers, you people that don't really know boxing. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. And I told you immediately upon the Andre Ward Kovalev 2 rematch what I thought. And if you go back to those videos, I still feel what I said. And I told you Kovalev's next fight, his very next fight, will be very telling, because there were a lot of people, including Kovalev and Main Events, Kathy Duva, Igis, and Kovalev, who were basically kind of making excuses. But I'm really talking about the fans, because they have, at that rate, they have something to lose, I guess you could say, by, you know what I mean, they want to plead their case or whatever. So that's a promoter, that's their business interest. So of course, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from Kathy Duva or, you know what I mean, really anyone, Kovalev, because they were the ones that took the loss, and they're a team. I'm talking about the fans. That's what I really want to talk about. The fans who made the same excuses. Oh, it's Tony Weeks' fault. Andre Ward's cheater. He's son of groin. He's the nutcracker. All this stuff like that. So I said it immediately after fight. I promise you, you guys can go to those videos. And I said it. Who he fights next is going to tell us. Because if you felt the only reason that you lost was because Andre Ward cheated, it had nothing to do with Andre Ward coming up with a better game plan, and you didn't seem to be able to hurt him in the rematch. There was no early knockdowns like there were in the first fight. If it was purely because between Ward and Tony Weeks, you were handed a raw deal, and you were well in the fight, you weren't fatigued, and you wanted to keep fighting and all that, and even though you had your butt on the ropes, right? It was none of that. Using that logic, why would you jump in with Shabranskyy, who's been stopped? We've seen him stopped. So at that point, I mean, it's not just about fighters taking losses, but the other thing is you got to analyze, look at the actual factuals. Sullivan Barrera he has a loss, but he's never been stopped. He's been dropped before. Joe Smith Jr. just dropped him, but he broke Joe Smith Jr.'s jaw, and he went on to dominate and win most of those rounds recently on HBO. He also knocked out Shabranskyy. They traded. I think Shabranskyy knocked him down once, but he knocked down Shabranskyy 3 times, and then he actually stopped him. Plus, he has experience from fighting Andre Ward. He got knocked down in that fight too, but at the very least, he went the distance with a great fighter, something Kovalev didn't do in the rematch, but he did the first time. So my point is this: if Kovalev and the radical Kovalev fans that say, oh, Ward cheated, Tony Weeks, it was a low blow, and all the people on YouTube and writing articles and stuff that were making these videos, why would he be facing the guy that Sullivan Barrera beat instead of Sullivan Barrera? And Sullivan Barrera admitted he was in talks to face Krusher, and they just announced on the Chocolatito card that he's fighting Vyacheslav Shabranskyy instead. So that has to tell you something. So instead of fighting the guy that beat the guy and has momentum, after the Ward loss, he came back strong, beat Shabranskyy via stoppage, an undefeated Shabranskyy, knocked him out, knocked him down 3 times if I'm not mistaken, and then he beat Joe Smith Jr., who had a lot of momentum, knocked Bernard Hopkins into the Golden Boy offices, out of the ring, into retirement, and he had knocked out Andres Fanfare in 1 round. Sullivan Barrera gets knocked down early, survives, and goes to break his jaw and dominate him. You know what I'm saying? So it's clear to say that Barrera has more notable momentum. Plus, he fought Andre Ward. Shabranskyy was this hot prospect with Golden Boy, right? And he was undefeated, Sullivan Barrera, and he was supposed to be a real big puncher and stuff. And Sullivan Barrera beat him, knocked him down, and then on top of that beat Joe Smith Jr. and derailed his momentum and broke his jaw, right? Vyacheslav Shabranskyy, I think he's on a 2-win streak, but they weren't against notable names since the Sullivan Barrera loss. And see, this is the thing. I'm not saying these things to hate. Kovalev versus Shabranskyy, that's still a good fight. I actually don't have a problem with the fight. I think it's a good fight. But this, again, and same thing with Shabranskyy, he got stopped. Of course you're supposed to, you know what I mean, take tune-up fights. You got stopped by Sullivan Barrera. You got to get back on track. He was sparring with Canelo, cool. So the reason I'm saying this is not to say Kovalev versus Shabranskyy is a terrible fight, because I don't think it is a terrible fight, especially with Kovalev coming off of a loss. This is directly aimed at those who said that Kovalev was in the fight, he was winning the fight, and the only reason he lost to Ward is because he got knocked out illegally and all this stuff. Tony Weeks. Because if Team Kovalev really felt that way, that hey, then why wouldn't they throw him back in there with Sullivan Barrera, Artur Beterbiev, a rematch from the amateurs, top level competition, right? Instead of a guy we know has been stopped. And stopped recently. Like even Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. has been stopped, but it was a long time ago. He had a broken jaw and he still didn't get stopped. Why not throw him in there with Marcus Brown, who had 2 back-to-back impressive knockouts? Why not put him in there with Adonis Stevenson? That's a fight we all want to see, right? Why not put him in there with Vodstick, who's also with Golden Boy, right? And that's because they want to build him back. That's what you see in the email. Krusher begins road to redemption. So to me, that's clarification for the whole thing, because like I said, if you knew you really didn't lose and the only reason you lost was because the ref cheated you or Andre Ward illegally got you out of there and it wasn't a rightful stoppage, you weren't really hurt and you weren't really fading and fatigued and frustrated and stuff, right? Why fire John David Jackson, and why would you fight a guy that Sullivan Barrera beat but you're not fighting Sullivan Barrera? So again, that's just to the detractors. The fight's not bad. This is probably a rightful fight. It's a dangerous fight for Shabranskyy because he's been stopped before. Kovalev, if he's back to his normal self, he's a problem for anyone because he can box, clearly has power. But it's a dangerous fight for Kovalev too, because like I said, he's coming off 2 back-to-back losses. And with that in mind, you don't know how fighters react. We've just seen Chocolatito with Rungvisai. He lost a controversial first fight and then he came back and got stopped in 4 rounds. So Kovalev just experienced that. So this will actually should be a good fight and a telling fight because both guys have power. And Vyacheslav Shabranskyy, I'm not sure his exact age, but I'm almost positive he's younger. He's 30 years old. It says in the email he's 30. Kovalev's 4 years older. And after guys take bad losses, bad blood, rivalry losses, you don't really know how they're going to be. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, this is not a fight prediction video. Kovalev has a chance in there, but as far as I'm concerned, Shabranskyy does too, because he looks solid and he has power and he's worked with Canelo since and stuff like that. So it should be a good fight. But again, I'm saying if you knew you were cheated, then why not fight top level competition straight away? I mean, it's nothing, you know what I mean? Because you know what happened with some bullshit. So that lets me know it lends credence to what I've been telling you, that Andre Ward just came out with a better game plan. He was the better man, and he beat Krusher fair and square. I understand some of the shots might have been grazing or belt line, but it was more than that. It was more than that why Kovalev was looking like that. He, of course, he got hit with a shot upstairs that set up this whole chain of events. There was no. You notice, this is something I just thought about. Ward, when he fought Kovalev in the rematch, I was at both Kovalev Ward fights, right? And nobody complained anything about low blows, right, at all during the whole fight. There was some. Actually, there was I think a moment where Kovalev crouched down, but I think it was a fair body shot. But no one was really complaining. It was only until the stoppage. You know what I mean? And like I said, even if you felt someone was low blowing you, you know you're gonna get stopped if you're not throwing punches back. So to me, there was a lot more going on, and it is what it is. But new media, man, we're just here to expose the frauds and speak the truth, what we really see. And another thing, the last point I'll say is Sullivan Barrera is with main events. Kovalev is with main events. So they're fighting Shabranskyy, who's with Golden Boy, as you've seen in the email at the beginning. So wouldn't it be easier to make an in-house fight? Like Top Rank is known for this. Top Rank always puts Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas. Those are in-house fighters. It's not Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman, who's one guy's with Al Heyman, one's with Top Rank. So they were able to make a Shabranskyy fight, who recently took a loss. He was like maybe 2 fights removed from a knockout loss with Golden Boy. But the Sullivan Barrera fight you weren't able to make. So and you were in negotiations with him. So to me, this was a team decision. They decided Krusher, he needs like more of a tune-up style fight. And I would definitely say that Shabranskyy is more of the tune-up than Sullivan Barrera. Again, I'm not saying Shabranskyy has no shot, but Sullivan Barrera beat Shabranskyy. End of story. So, I mean, how could he not be? And he has momentum, like I said, with the Joe Smith Jr. fight. And he's experienced fighting a top-level guy like Andre Ward. So, I think we all know that Sullivan Barrera, with all things considered, he would be the more formidable, more dangerous guy with the most momentum. And I think that's pretty clear. But this should be a solid fight. And really, I want to see how Kovalev he is mentally. I mean, I don't even know who his trainer is going to be. And see, that's another indication that what happened was how it was supposed to happen. Because why get rid of John David Jackson, and now he's screaming on you saying you can't take it to the body. I'm 54 and I hurt him to the body, and you don't want to pay folks and things like that. So all that stuff considered, I just want to see. I'm definitely going to tune into this fight because I want to see how Kovalev bounces back. Does he look like the Krusher, or does he look like he's a lot more vulnerable? Because we never know. Like I said, Chocolatito, he was undefeated for whatever 48, 49 fights, loses to Sor Rungvisai, and then we just seen him get knocked out. So Kovalev, this is his opportunity. Maybe he bounces back correct, and he just looks like when he was fighting Blake Caparello and Nathan Cleverly and Ishmael Salak and stuff like that. I don't know, but I will be tuning in. That is the latest, November 25th, Kovalev at Madison Square Garden against Sullivan Barrera's former conquest guy. He beat Vyacheslav Shabranskyy. Let me know your thoughts. It will be on HBO. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. How will Kovalev look in this next fight? Let me know. Drop your thoughts. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, son. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.